Welcome to Radio B2B, the only truly free, unbiased and open internet radio platform for business in Africa.
Welcome to Radio B2B, and it's my absolute pleasure to be speaking with Abe Ashkenazi, who is Chief Executive Officer of SAPICS and the APEX Supply Chain Council. Prior to joining APEX, he was the Managing Director for the Operations Consulting Group of American Express Tax and Business Services. Abe, thank you so much for joining us in this discussion. We are talking about the SAPICS 2017 conference. I believe you're going to be at that conference, which is, I think, a major win for SAPICS South Africa. Welcome to Radio B2B.
My pleasure, Ivor. I mean, this is a great opportunity for myself, not only for APEX, but for SAPICS as well. I've been to the conference a number of years and thoroughly have enjoyed not only the conference, but the opportunity to meet individuals from South Africa.
Let me ask you a question right up front that many South Africans are always dying to ask someone in your position, and that is, how does the average South African supply chain professional compare to his or her counterparts around the world?
I think we've seen the talent development at a par on with almost every location across the globe. I don't think we see differentiation based on region. I think it's more based on the types of responsibilities that we see different capabilities and competencies. And I can tell you that the individuals in South Africa compete at an operational and an executive and a leadership level with any region across the globe.
What is it that you say to South African SAPICS people who become APEX members in the process, in terms of their responsibility both to APEX and also to SAPICS, about being recognized as professionals?
That's a really great question, because I think one of the challenges that a lot of supply chain professionals have experienced in the past is that they're very effective behind the scenes, making sure that the organization is aligned in terms of the entire supply chain, using the SCORE reference model of the design, plan, source, make, deliver, and return and service. We see a lot of the supply chain professionals executing these responsibilities and often not being at the strategy table or in a leadership position. Today's supply chain professional has not only the technical competency, but they're now required to be a leader and a strategist at the same time. So we're seeing individuals being pushed into a leadership position and a collaboration with the senior executives for organizations, and this is an opportunity for individuals to step up and be recognized for the contributions that they make to the organization. I think this is an extraordinary opportunity for supply chain professionals today.
The argument is always that supply chain practitioners don't have a seat at that table, that even though they might consider themselves to be professional practitioners, the more traditional professions within the business environment tend to look down on supply chain practitioners, tend to see them as a service or a supply mechanism into traditional management practice, but don't tend to see them for what they are, as fully grown and fully cognizant professionals who are capable in their own right of making a huge contribution to productivity and, in fact, to profitability in the workplace.
I totally agree with you, Ivor. I think what we've seen is that the move from functional and technical experts into leadership positions has followed the perception of supply chain as an industry itself, away from a cost containment and an efficiency function into a strategic differentiator for a lot of organizations. And that requires a different competency and a different skill set for a lot of the individuals. So as organizations have seen and have identified supply chain as a critical strategic differentiator for them, we need to be able to identify the leaders within those functions that understand the supply chain and have exposure to all the functions within supply chain so that they can manage and participate in that strategy development and the execution. I totally agree with you. This is a transformation that has occurred not only for the function of supply chain, but for the workforce that executes and leads that as well.
I'm talking with Abe Ashkenazi, and he is Chief Executive Officer of both APEX and the APEX Supply Chain Council. Abe, if you would, please distinguish for us the difference between those two organizations.
Absolutely. APEX as an organization was founded on the content development and the certification for individuals in supply chain. So the focus was always on enabling individuals not only to gain the proficiency to get a job, but to also maintain and contribute to the organization's success. So the focus was always on enabling the individual and the competency and the capabilities. With the merger with Supply Chain Council, we recognize that organizational transformation is as important as workforce development. So with the Supply Chain Council, it enables APICS to service the organization and enable them in terms of appropriate design, appropriate alignment of the functions within the supply chain, as well as the recognition of the strategic importance of supply chain. So APICS can now service the individual workforce as well as addressing the core strategy for an organization about their supply chain and transforming it. Those two are inextricably linked in terms of if you're going to do organizational transformation, it's critical that you enable and train the workforce to execute on it. How many times have we seen organizations implement ERP systems without training their workforce on the new systems and not get the return on investment? So it's critical that you align not only organizational transformation, but also the workforce development. So with the combination of Supply Chain Council, we can address both critical needs in the marketplace.
So in South African language, we would say that what we're really talking about here are the social partners within the business context. One's talking, on the one hand, that the Supply Chain Council is, in fact, the trade association or employer association within an industry, whereas APICS is, for want of a better term, the professional body in the industry responsible for professional recognition and for continuous professional development of the individual.
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to put it, that we're, the key linkage between the two cannot be separated, and organizations achieve their true objectives, return on investment or shareholder value, when they focus on both the organizational as well as the individual.
I've heard it said, Abe, that an APICS certification is truly an international qualification because an international certification because it's recognized as professional recognition around the world wherever there are APICS chapters, wherever there is an APICS footprint. How many countries around the world, in fact, have APICS chapters in them?
We've got 300 odd chapters across 40 different countries across the globe. So the dispersion and the recognition of the certification is not only based on the geographic, footprint that we have as an organization, but it's based on the organizations recognizing that those individuals with the certification contribute to the performance and the success and the competitive advantage for the organization. Obviously, as we train individuals, the key is to get them to contribute to the organizational success. Training the individual and getting them certified is one step. The key is getting them to contribute to that organizational success. In terms of our footprint, in terms of how many exams we do about 30,000 exams across the globe, about 15,000 domestically or in the United States, and about 15,000 internationally. So we're pretty balanced relative to where the certifications of the individuals are. But we take tremendous pride not only in the certification and the individuals who are certified because they lead their organization, but we can demonstrate that those individuals and those organizations have better return on investment as well as return on equity when they focus on organizational transformation and training their workforce and getting them certified.
I look forward to meeting you at the SAPICS conference, and presumably you'll be there throughout the conference, and I think all South Africans look forward to being associated with the Chief Executive Officer of APICS and the Supply Chain Council. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very heavy schedule to chat to me.
My pleasure, Ivor. We're looking forward to going to SAPICS. This is truly the largest event of any partner that we have across the globe in terms of getting a conference as well as supply chain professionals. And our commitment and our appreciation for the work that SAPICS does is second to none, and we're extremely excited not only about the opportunity, but for the potential to develop the South African workforce and the supply chain industry.
Abe, thank you very much, and thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
The Radio B2B Weekly News Review.